Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, look, I'm usually buzzing to be here, ready to get into the weeds, but today I might sound a little raw. And that's because I'm recording this entire thing on a goddamn office rig, this crappy backup machine. Why? Because I spent 7 solid fucking hours yesterday trying to upgrade my actual PC, and it was a complete, utter shit show, a waste of my goddamn time.
Oh no, what happened? The upgrade itself?
7 hours, man. Routing cables like a pro, applying thermal paste perfectly, checking every damn spec sheet. Then, the final boss. The front panel pin connectors.
Yeah, the tiny bastards.
They're tiny bastards, you know them. Power reset, the little blinky lights. And the documentation. The manual from the motherboard manufacturer. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Sweet. Fuck all about that specific crucial cluster.
Hey, you said it seriously?
Right? It showed everything else in beautiful full color. But not the one thing that stops the whole expensive pile from being a goddamn brick. So naturally it won't boot, just sits there, silent, mocking me. I've already slammed 2 White Claws just to get to baseline calm, okay? Working on number 3 right now, so I don't actually put my fist through a monitor.
Understandable, completely.
And the timing. I'm supposed to be focusing getting my Zen on, because I'm grading for my 6Q in karate soon. Need control, need discipline. This motherboard bullshit. This is pure tech-induced feral rage.
Oh, okay. Deep breaths.
Deep breaths and White Claws. So yeah, I need a distraction. I need to dive into something complex, but something that at least makes sense on some level, unlike undocumented pinheaders. So today, we're going deep. We're descending into the glorious and grotesque lore of true post-human survivors. Fallout ghouls.
Okay, well that intro, despite the rage fuel, it's actually a perfect segue. That feeling, that slow breakdown facing something random and undocumented, that's kind of thematic for ghouls, isn't it? So yeah, welcome everyone. Today's mission. A really deep, long-form look at one of Fallout's most iconic, terrifying, and honestly deeply misunderstood groups. Ghouls. We're not just talking shambling monsters here. These are beings shaped by the absolute worst the wasteland can throw at you. Radiation, mutation, prejudice, it's all there. And understanding them, it takes concentration, the kind you need for 6Q, right? Not the kind of blind stabbing in the dark you do with crappy motherboard manuals.
Infinitely better.
Okay.
Let's do this. Let's talk about the rotten deal of becoming a ghoul. All right, so ghouls, first thing people think, especially ignorant, smooth skins, is zombies, right? Undead. But that's not it at all. They're mutated survivors. So let's nail down the basics. What is a ghoul? Technically.
Fundamentally, yeah, they're necrotic post-humans. That's the more clinical term you might hear sometimes. They were all originally human, every single one, but they got hit with massive, intense doses of radiation, usually from the Great War in 2077, mixed with all the other toxic crap in the environment. It's like the body's desperate last-ditch attempt to survive overwhelming damage, a mutation forced by extreme conditions.
Necrotic post-human. Sounds way more official than ghoul.
It does, and you hear people like Doc Barrows in the Capital Wasteland use it. It acknowledges their origin, their biology, ghoul itself. It's mostly used as a slur, to make them seem monstrous, less than human, out there in the wastes.
Yeah, they get called zombies, shufflers, skin bags, all sorts of lovely terms. It's dehumanizing.
So becoming one means you survive something that absolutely should have killed you. Like statistically, you beat insane odds. Exactly. That's the cruel lottery aspect, and it's genuinely horrific when you think about it. For almost everyone else hit by that level of radiation, the non-lethal but still extreme dose, it's just agony. We're talking like total organ failure, massive internal bleeding, your skin literally rotting off while you're alive, hair falling out in clumps. It's a disgusting, painful way to go over several days.
Jesus.
Yeah. So only this tiny, tiny fraction of people seem to have something, some unknown genetic factor that lets their body react differently, survive the initial onslaught, and trigger the mutation instead of just dissolving. And here's the kicker. Even centuries later, nobody knows exactly what that genetic factor is. Wasteland science hasn't cracked it. It's completely random who turns and who just melts.
And the process itself, the actual ghoulification, isn't instant movie magic melting either, is it? It varies.
Hugely variable. It can be terrifyingly fast, like hours. You see that with the NCR troopers at Camp Searchlight in New Vegas. The Legion set off a dirty bomb, bam, intense radiation, and some soldiers turned almost immediately. Totally. But then you get these really drawn-out cases. Carol from Fallout 3. She was exposed during the bombs in 2077, but her change took weeks, maybe even over a year, to fully manifest. It's not about how old you are either. You've got child ghouls like Billy Peabody stuck in that fridge for 200 years, alongside much older folks like Lucky Lou who turned and kept going. It's just chaotic, unpredictable.
And it wasn't just the bombs, right? People focus on the Great War, but ghouls existed before that, didn't they? Or the potential did.
That's a really important point, yeah. The bombs created the vast majority, obviously. But the lore confirms there were pre-war cases, usually tied to shady experiments. Think about characters like Desmond Lockhart. Pre-war ghoul, result of some kind of experimental procedure, maybe trying to achieve immortality or radiation resistance because they knew the war was coming. Wild, risky science. Controlled radiation exposure, maybe FEV experimentation. Stuff that went wrong, or maybe right, depending on your point of view.
Okay, and then fast forward. The lore evolves, we get the artificial method, the ghoulification drug in the Commonwealth. It's just bizarre.
Right. That's a major twist. This experimental radiation drug. Some kind of potent cocktail, maybe unique isotopes, maybe even, like you hinted, traces of FEV, the super mutant goo, but altered, diluted. Taking this stuff induces ghoulification, often with, apparently, some wild psychedelic side effects during the transformation.
And the prime example is John Hancock.
Absolutely. Mayor of Good Neighbor. He didn't get caught in a blast. He chose it. After Diamond City kicked out all the ghouls, his own brother's policy, Hancock felt responsible, guilty as hell. So he found the last known dose of this experimental drug and took it, deliberately. Like a rebirth, you know? Trying to become one of the people he felt he failed. It's a hell of a backstory, a conscious choice for mutation driven by guilt.
All right, biology time. The horrifying perk package. Functional immortality. God, my motherboard could regenerate its documentation and fix these fucking pins. I'd take looking a bit lettery. But for ghouls, it costs everything else. What's the core mechanic? How does this crazy regeneration actually work?
It's a hell of a trade-off, isn't it? The core idea is that the intense radiation exposure permanently screws with their autonomic nervous system. Specifically, it messes up how neurotransmitters decay along the spinal cord. Instead of breaking down normally, the radiation damage triggers this feedback loop. Result: supercharged regeneration. The body is just constantly repairing itself, almost indefinitely.
Constantly running Chicory Discoir on itself, basically.
Yeah, something like that. Set, the ghoul leader back in Fallout 1, said it best. We surpass the norms. Their bodies are just locked in this perpetual recovery mode.
And this isn't just like paper cuts healing fast. This is full-on comic book level survival, right? Give us some examples of the crazy shit they can walk away from.
Oh, it's extreme. Injuries that would instantly kill a normal human from shock or blood loss, ghouls can potentially recover. An arrow straight through the neck, possible survival. Power armor stomping your foot into paste, it'll regenerate.
Seriously. Limb reattachment.
Yeah, the TV show really leaned into this. Cooper Howard, the ghoul, gets his finger lopped off. He just crudely sews it back on and bang, it heals. Fully functional. The regeneration is so powerful, it'll reconnect and regrow tissue with even basic care.
Which leads to the really dark side of their biology. The organ harvesters.
Yeah. That was a grim detail in the show, wasn't it? Because their organs, lungs, heart, kidneys, are so ridiculously resilient, so resistant to decay thanks to that regeneration, they become valuable commodities. You literally see ghoul organs in freezers with price tags. Necrotic post-human lungs, premium quality. It turns their survival trait into a massive target on their back. They're not just hated, they're hunted for parts, like walking, regenerating organ banks.
Oh, heck, okay, but there are actual perks, right? Against the wasteland itself, radiation immunity is the big one.
Huge one. They are effectively immune to the damaging effects of low-level background radiation. It doesn't hurt them. It actually heals them.
Right, the gameplay mechanic. Run into the glowing goo to get health back.
Exactly. Radiation exposure boosts their physiology, amps up the regeneration. It's like a healing salve for them. And the glowing ones. The ones who are so saturated they literally glow in the dark. They apparently feel normal radiation levels as, like, chilly. They need intense radiation just to feel warm, just to feel normal.
So radiation-proof, mostly disease-proof, but the mind's still vulnerable.
Correct. Physically, their immune system is turbocharged. Most common wasteland diseases don't affect them. But that protection stops at the neck, basically. Their brains are still vulnerable. They can suffer psychological trauma, mental breakdown, and crucially, that slow cognitive decay. The diseases of the mind that eventually lead to becoming feral, we'll get more into that, but yeah, the brain isn't shielded like the body.
And chems don't hit the same. My White Claw strategy would be useless.
Pretty much. Their metabolism is just too fast. Those cellular repair processes clear out neurochemicals super quick. Regular dose of jet, mentats, barely a buzz. They need the high-octane stuff, double potency, like ultra-jet, just to get a decent effect. Their system just resets itself too efficiently.
But the biggest biological hit, the really tragic one, is sterility.
Yeah, that's the end of the line for them as a people, biologically speaking. The radiation damage to their reproductive systems is too fundamental. Even the supercharged regeneration can't fix it. They can't have kids. Every ghoul you meet is first generation and last generation. Typhon, Set's son, and Fallout 2 put it bleakly. There ain't any ghouls but old ghouls. We're all sterile. It's an existential dead end.
Okay, last big biological mystery before we move on. The hibernation paradox.
Yeah.
They need food and water, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes they just sleep for centuries.
Yeah.
Without anything.
Yeah.
How the hell does that work?
The hibernation paradox. Yeah, this one's a real head-scratcher in the lore. And yeah, normally ghouls need food and water. Their lack of smell helps them stomach nasty stuff. Hence the ghouls' famous ass jerky. But they do need sustenance.
But not always.
Right. We have at least 4 confirmed cases. Coffin, Willie, Woody, Billy Peabody in the fridge for 200 years, and Cooper Howard himself, buried alive multiple times for long stretches. They survived decades, even centuries, with no food, no water, probably no air. It suggests some kind of deep hibernation, a state where their body shuts down almost completely, just sipping energy for regeneration.
Like a biological safe mode.
Exactly. When Cooper crawls out of his coffin in the show, he's described as groggy and sleepy. It points to some unknown adaptive biological mechanism kicking in under extreme deprivation. It totally contradicts their usual needs, but it seems to be a thing, the ultimate survival fallback. Still a mystery, even to them, it seems.
Okay, so if functional immortality is the messed up gift, feralization is the ticking time bomb attached to it, the slow, unavoidable slide into becoming the mindless monsters everyone already thinks they are. What's the biological root cause of this? Why is the brain crap out?
It's officially called ferocious post-necrotic dystrophy. Catchy, huh? And yeah, it's the ultimate nightmare for cognitive ghouls. The core problem is that loophole in their regeneration. It fixes the body, even the spinal cord, incredibly well. But the brain? Not so much. Brain tissue doesn't regenerate the same way. Or maybe the radiation damage is just too complex, too fundamental up there. So over time, decades, centuries, or sometimes triggered faster by trauma, the brain physically degrades. It atrophies. Higher mental functions start to go offline.
Like Alzheimer's on radioactive steroids.
Kind of, yeah. They become more aggressive, more instinct-driven, ruled by hunger. Eventually, it's irreversible. They regress to this primal, animalistic state, no reasoning, no language, just savage instinct. They become feral ghouls.
And once they're feral, what defines them? How do they behave?
Pure instinct. They lose all rational thought. Primary behavior. Attack any non-ghoul on sight. They seem hyper-aggressive towards smoothskins. Interestingly, they usually don't attack other ghouls, feral or not. Some kind of primal recognition, maybe?
Weird. What about biologically? Are they still alive in the same way?
Not really. Their normal human physiology pretty much shuts down. They seem to be sustained almost entirely by the radiation they've absorbed and continue to absorb. They don't generate body heat anymore. They're cold. Technically dead, but animated by radiation and that malfunctioning regeneration.
Yeah.
You often find them shuffling around places linked to old routines, old muscle memory. Supermarkets, offices, drive-in theaters. Maybe some echo of their past life, but without any understanding. Sometimes they still clutch old objects, like a teddy bear or a wrench. It's unsettling.
But some ghouls, like Cooper, stay sharp for centuries. Others seem to turn way faster. So it's not just time, right? There must be other factors.
Definitely. Time is the constant pressure, but other things can speed it up or slow it down. Social isolation seems to be a big risk factor. Ghouls who are cut off, alone, without mental stimulation, they seem to decay faster. The theory is that strong willpower, focus, having a purpose. It can act as a buffer. It can hold off the degradation, at least for a while. Think Captain Zhao on his sub in Fallout 4. His whole crew went feral around him over 200 years, but he maintained his sanity, focused on his mission. Or Oswald the Outrageous in Nuka World, the magician. He stayed lucid through sheer force of personality and, well, showmanship. On the flip side, extreme trauma, especially the trauma of becoming a ghoul, can cause a rapid snap. Immediate feralization. We saw hints of that at Camp Searchlight. So yeah, it's a mix of time, environment, trauma, and maybe just individual mental resilience. A constant fight to stay you.
Which brings us to the game changer from the TV show, the anti-feral drug. Suddenly it's not inevitable anymore if you can afford it.
Huge development. This drug, usually in these little yellow vials, you inhale it and it halts the degenerative process. Apparently it might even reverse the early stages. Nobody's sure what it is exactly. Maybe related to FEV research, some kind of pre-war neurological stabilizer, but it works.
But it's rare and expensive as hell.
That's the nasty catch. The show makes it clear, expensive and incredibly rare, especially after Shady Sands fell, which was apparently a major source or trading hub for it. So now, every thinking ghoul is dependent on this scarce resource.
Cooper Howard basically says he only survived 200 years with his mind intact because he was always good at getting the cash for those vials.
Exactly. It reframes their entire existence. Survival isn't just about dodging bullets and rads anymore. It's about the hustle, constantly needing to find, buy, or maybe steal this drug just to keep your brain from turning to mush. It turns their potential immortality into this awful, stressful countdown based on supply. It's a brilliant, terrifying resource management mechanic woven into the lore, adds a whole new layer of desperation.
Okay, let's talk looks, the cosmetic horror show. Across all the games, the defining feature is no nose, no ears, messed up lips. Is there any actual lore reason why their noses fall off, or is it just looks cool and creepy?
Yeah, there's no official Bethesda document titled Ghoul Rhinoplasty, a post-nuclear study. It's largely a consistent visual design choice to make them instantly recognizable and unsettling.
But the fan theories make sense.
They do, based on the biology. The main one is pretty straightforward. The nose and outer ears are mostly cartilage and soft tissue, weakest stuff structurally. So in the initial blast furnace of radiation and heat during ghoulification, that stuff probably just burns or rots away first. Then the regeneration kicks in, focused on keeping the core systems functional, not necessarily rebuilding delicate cosmetic features. Or maybe it tries to fix it but overcorrects, leaving that flattened, noseless look. And the biological side effect is obvious. Their sense of smell is shot, which conveniently lets them eat rotting garbage and ass jerky without gagging.
And the different looks across the games. Fallout 1, ghouls look more rotten, Fallout 4, more melted.
Yeah, that visual evolution actually has a lore explanation too. It reflects the type of radiation exposure. Ghouls created right near a blast, intense, sudden radiation. They tend to look more necrotic, like Set from Fallout 1, more exposed muscle, literally rotting. Those who got chronic exposure over time or maybe used the drug, they often have that more leathery, burned, melted skin look, like Cooper Howard or the Fallout 4 ghouls. The artist for Fallout 3 even said they used processed photos of, like, raw chicken skin to get that icky, translucent, feral look.
Ouch.
Okay, last bit on appearance. The voice. Most have that signature gravelly, raspy voice, but some, like Dean Domino or Cooper, sound perfectly clear. Why?
That's attributed to their pre-war lives, basically. Professional performers. Singers like Dean Domino, actors like Cooper Howard, they had highly trained vocal cords, exceptional breath control. So the idea is either the ghoulification process somehow spared that specific well-developed tissue, or the regeneration was effective enough to fully repair it because it was so crucial to their whole deal. Their voices were their tools and they kept them sharp. Right, let's talk about the ghouls, who really define the lore, the ones we remember. Got to start with the man himself, Cooper Howard, the ghoul. He's basically what happens when a player character hits level 200 and gets really, really cynical.
He absolutely is. He's the perfect distillation of wasteland survival. Pre-war movie star, vault-tech salesman, turned into this pragmatic, deadly, centuries-old bounty hunter. That longevity means he's got skills that would take a player ages to grind out. When people break down his build, it's always maxed physical stats, strength, perception, endurance, agility probably. And the perks, oh man, maxed out gunslinger, obviously. Penetrator, letting him shoot through armor. Lead belly is a must for a ghoul. Chem resistant, probably vital for managing that anti-feral drug addiction.
And cannibal. Can't forget cannibal.
Definitely cannibal, thanks to the unforgettable ass jerky incident. Yeah, he's got the full suite.
And the way he fights in the show feels like VATS, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. The slow-mo shots, the impossible accuracy, targeting specific weak points. That's pure VATS visual language. For anyone listening who doesn't know, VATS is the in-game system letting you pause, target body parts, see hit chances. The ghoul moves like he has that running in his head, 247. 2 centuries of combat practice internalized. Like you said, he's the ultimate murder hobo. The player on their 10th playthrough who knows all the tricks, doesn't care about karma, just results. Killing Roger, the ghoul turning feral, then immediately. Harvesting resources, peak pragmatic wasteland logic. Amoral, efficient survival.
Okay, moving to the companions. Raul Tejada from New Vegas. Danny Trejo's voice alone makes him legendary.
Raoul is fantastic, sarcastic old gunslinger Vaquero Ghoul, finding him locked up by super mutants. Classic New Vegas. But what's really interesting about Raoul is how he highlights the limits of ghoul regeneration. He's functionally immortal, right? But he's constantly complaining sarcastically about his aches and pains, arthritis, glaucoma, stiffness, stuff that regeneration doesn't seem to fix.
So even immortality gets old.
Exactly. It shows that even with the miracle healing, the basic wear and tear of centuries still takes a toll. He's this ancient being stuck in a body that heals from bullets but still feels the creaks and groans of extreme age. It makes him incredibly grounded and honestly pretty relatable despite being a 200-year-old ghoul.
Then there's Hancock in Fallout 4, the revolutionary who chose ghoulification, much more of an anti-hero vibe.
Hancock's story is crucial for the social side of things. His transformation wasn't an accident, it was self-punishment. He felt he failed his community. His brother, the mayor of Diamond City, runs this anti-ghoul decree in 2282, basically a pogrom. Kicks all the ghouls out, leaves them to die. Hancock couldn't stop it, felt powerless, maybe complicit. So he takes the drug, becomes a ghoul himself, and sets up Good Neighbor as a haven. Tries to be the protector he wasn't before. He's this charismatic, volatile leader, a romance option even. Shows that becoming a ghoul can be a path to redemption, not just decay.
And we absolutely have to mention Jason Bright from New Vegas, the Glowing One cult leader. That was something else.
Oh man, Jason Bright, he's such a wonderful Fallout curveball. Glowing ones, right?
Yeah.
They're so full of radiation, they glow. That much radiation almost always means instant feral state due to brain damage.
But not Jason.
Nope. Jason Bright is fully sentient, articulate, and incredibly charismatic. A religious zealot leading his cult, the Bright Brotherhood, on this great journey to the far beyond, using retrofitted rockets. It's completely absurd. A glowing, radioactive creature leading his mutated flock to space. But it's also kind of profound. Shows the power of belief, of purpose, even in the most mutated, irradiated bodies. One of New Vegas's absolute standout quests.
But for most schools, life isn't leading space cults. It's more like Gob in Fallout 3. Just constant abuse.
Gob is heartbreaking, yeah. He's the everyday ghoul experience distilled. Stuck bartending for Moriarty and Megaton, constantly insulted, treated like garbage just for how he looks. His whole character exists to show you the baseline prejudice ghoul's face. Letting the player step in, help him out, maybe even get him the bar. It's a small victory against that ingrained bigotry, but it highlights how pervasive it is. And that bigotry is institutional. Vault City shot ghouls on sight, paranoid about radiation from nearby Gecko. Diamond City's pogrom, state-sanctioned ethnic cleansing basically, forcing people out into the ruins to die horribly.
There were exceptions though, right? Places that were more accepting.
There were. It wasn't all grim. The NCR notably offered ghouls legal protections relatively early, back in 2205. They even recruited ghoul rangers into their military. Shows that pragmatism, or maybe just formal legal structures, can sometimes overcome prejudice. But then you swing back to the TV show with the organ harvesters. It underscores that even with legal rights, their unique biology makes them a perpetual target. Survival is always a fight.
All right, so we've established Cooper Howard, the ghoul, is basically peak human potential pushed over centuries. Max stats, max perks, deadly as hell. Which leads to the inevitable nerd debate. Is he the toughest guy in the whole Fallout universe? Can he take on the player characters?
The power scaling debate. Always fun. The general feeling in the lore community, the ghoul is absolutely a top-tier endgame level character within the world, but the player protagonists, they often operate on a different level entirely. They're player characters. Think about the TV show structure. It really frames them as player archetypes, doesn't it? Lucy, the naive, high karma first playthrough. Maximus, the slightly dim, power armor-focused companion, maybe neutral karma. And the ghoul, the cynical, seen-it-all, probably low-karma murder hobo on playthrough number 100.
So he's the best NPC, but the player character breaks the universe's rules.
Pretty much. Cooper's skills are insane, don't get me wrong. Taking down a Brotherhood Knight in power armor with a pistol, that's badass. But the game protagonists, especially a min-maxed one, they become minor deities. The courier survived a bullet to the brain and then reshaped the entire Mojave. Killed hordes of Deathclaws, took on armies. The lone wanderer blew up an alien mothership and arguably survived a nuke going off right next to them. The sole survivor routinely punches super mutant behemoths to death. The ghoul is the legendary figure within the world. The player character often transcends the world's established limits. He's an expert. They're borderline gods.
Makes sense. Okay, shifting to future lore stuff. Playing as a ghoul. Or a super mutant. Fans have wanted that forever. Why haven't the main Bethesda games let us do it?
It's a huge fan wish, yeah. And apparently it was mostly technical huddles, not lore reasons. Obsidian actually confirmed they seriously considered playable ghouls and super mutants for New Vegas, but the engine they inherited from Fallout 3 just wasn't built for it, especially the equipment system. How do you make helmets fit properly on a ghoul's melted head? How does armor scale and attach to a super mutant's giant frame without looking ridiculous or clipping everywhere?
Nightmare fuel for the animators and modelers.
Exactly. The collision detection, the modeling variations for every single piece of gear. It was apparently too big a technical challenge for the time and budget, but the fact that the official Fallout tabletop RPG does let you play as ghouls and mutants shows it's perfectly viable lore-wise. The desire is there.
And now, with the antiferal drug introduced, that just screams playable ghoul mechanic, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It creates this perfect built-in gameplay loop. Imagine playing a ghoul in Fallout 5. You get the rad immunity, the crazy endurance, maybe unique dialogue options reflecting centuries of life, but you have this constant timer. You need to find, buy, or scavenge that drug regularly, or risk cognitive decline, maybe even stat penalties, or eventually losing control. It turns survival into managing not just health and ammo, but your own sanity. That's a fascinating risk-reward system for an RPG. Really compelling potential there. #outro. So wrapping it all up, ghouls are they're the wasteland embodied, aren't they? Walking, talking, rotting examples of enduring the absolute worst. They got this functional immortality, but it's cursed with decay and prejudice. They show humanity's incredible resilience or ability to adapt to anything, but they also mirror our ugliness or fear of the different, our capacity for cruelty even after the world ends. They're scarred survivors, perpetual time bombs, and a dark reflection of us all.
Thank you. Seriously, that dive into biological and neurological decay was weirdly therapeutic after my tech nightmare. Honestly, dealing with these fucking impossible undocumented motherboard pins right now, it feels less like troubleshooting and more like the early stages of sterilization. My higher brain functions are degrading from sheer frustration. 7 hours lost to the uncaring void of shit hardware design. I am experiencing ferocious post-necrotic dystrophy induced by front panel connectors. Time for that third White Claw and maybe some meditation before I actually try and hit something. Gotta focus on karate. 6th Q. Things that respond to effort, unlike this goddamn machine. Alright, for you listening, here's the final thought to chew on, right from the ghoul's existential dilemma. We know that regeneration doesn't fix the brain. Without that rare drug, feralization seems inevitable. So, does truly surviving long-term in the Fallout world mean you eventually have to lose your mind? Give up conscious thought, the thing that makes us human, just to keep the body going? Or is the real meaning of survival found in that struggle? The constant fight, the hustle for the drug, the battle to hold on to sanity against the ticking clock. Is that what it means to endure in the wasteland? Think about it. And seriously, if you ever build a PC, find a motherboard with clear pin diagrams. Treat it like a legendary drop. I'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.